onefootflipper.
All right, it's Saturday at about noon and the card sale is definitely working. I have hundreds of cards to start packing and shipping right now. That's probably what I'm going to be doing all weekend long. It's one of the downsides of most people who sell really cheap cards never really sell huge amounts at once, so they don't realize how long that stuff actually takes to pack and ship. It takes a long time when you sell a lot of them. We're here with Julie. She just got back from art camp and it looks like there's a package waiting. I opened it, but Julie hasn't seen it yet.
Okay. Oh, they're cute stuff!
What is it? Oh, okay. All right, it's Sunday. It's been a pretty good weekend of sales so far. Sorry if you hear any weird noises in the background. I'm in the basement. My daughter and wife are up there stomping around and trying to give the dog a bath because the dog has recently had a soda spilled on her and been colored on with markers, and that's the sort of thing that happens when you got 4 little girls in one house for a little while because she had some friends over yesterday. I spent 6 hours yesterday shipping trading cards. 6 hours. And then suddenly when I was done shipping them, the orders for them, because they're all on buy one get one free now, up and died. Only sold 4 more since I finished that last night at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And since then I've sold 4 more cards, each one to people who only bought one and didn't take the free one. People do not look at those promotions. Let's look at a couple of sales here. Sold Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Library, that always hurts the value, $6.47. Sold this big old vintage mid-century modern fan. This sold for 90 bucks, but it did sell with promoted listings, so there's about another $3 gonna go out there on fees. Started this at 100. The reason I promoted it is because there were similars that were just the sell range on this particular model is very all over the place, so I figured I'd start it out a little bit higher and promote it so it might get purchased by somebody who wasn't shopping that specific model, and it appeared to work. Oh, I want to thank all of my viewers who bought trading cards. I know it was probably most of you who bought trading cards yesterday. There were too many messages for me to read them all, but thank you to all of you. Sold Dino here, $3.59. In the big model train buy, there were boxes of assorted parts, and I just kind of lotted those up as I found them in the boxes. This has a bunch of lights and light sockets and a couple of wheels and stuff, and I put this lot up for 50 bucks and it sold within 2 days, so maybe I could have gotten more for it. Sold this vintage Addis AM100 stereo mixer, worked when last used, $26.99. This does not have a great sell-through rate as far as vintage mixers go, so I put mine a few bucks cheaper than the cheapest one, and it sold super quick. Sold this little bag of Warhammer miniatures that kind of look like robot spiders. It's hard to see here. They're pretty boring, honestly. $14.99. I sold a Death Pile monster to my friend and yours, American Arbitrage. He said, keep up the great content. Hey, thank you very much, Carrie and Dawn. Carrie has been one of my biggest supporters from the very beginning, and I can't thank him enough. And everybody kept telling me to send him some sports cards, so I did pack in a whole bunch of sports cards with this Death Pile monster going out to Carrie. You should get that soon. I sold a case of assorted card deck boxes, 41 in here in total. I think I put it up at $41 or $40, and it went at a 10% off offer of $36.89 plus shipping. That's going to open a nice big spot on my shelf to put something else. I sold Slade, $7.20. Not too bad. Thin Lizzy jailbreak, $16.19. Having that remains of the shrink wrap still on the album cover helps the condition so much. They tend to get much better prices when that's still there. I sold a Death Pile Monster along with 2 Star Wars guys, a Weequay Skiff Guard and a Hoth Rebel Commander, total of $17.22. This is from Mike at the eBay store Tatooine Scavenger. He said, love the channel, happy to support. I've been active on eBay for a couple months now, taking in your advice and doing well. Thank you. Well, hey, thank you, Mike. I have misplaced the box that has most of the Death Pile Monsters in it, so I'm going to have to find that soon because I have very few left on the shelf, but I know somewhere around here there's a box that has the rest of them in it. Because once they're gone, they're gone. I cannot get more of them. All right, and I guess we'll be back in a bit. Okay, we're back upstairs here. Fem in the background is cleaning up after... Turns out it was Gatorade that was spilled on the dog, not soda, but we're still cleaning up that action, but I've still got work to do, so let's get into it. And one reason I've got so much work to do is because I spent the whole day shipping cards yesterday. You see, the smalls seem fine. Those $2 and $3 orders seem fine when they wrap up with the rest of your business and you don't realize how much time you're actually spending on them. Speaking of a small, 1882 U.S. Army sheet music, terrible condition, $3.50. You don't realize how much time you're actually spending on them unless you suddenly magically get a day like yesterday where I spend an entire work day shipping $300 worth of stuff. $300 worth of stuff is my normal daily sales goal, and generally that's a half hour to an hour to ship $300, not 6 hours. I sold this green sake set. I'll put a picture up. $11.80. So you might want to take that into mind when you're figuring out your business model, what you want to sell and what you don't want to sell. And the more you get into smalls, the more of them you have, the longer it does take to pull. So if you've only got a few, you might not, or a very small store, you might not spend as much time pulling them as I did. $17.99 for this Japanese blue and white teapot with brass handle. My wife sourced that. She was very happy to see that it sold. Well, you know it had to be her because it was glass, and I don't source glass. This Dali, Salvador Dali, softcover art book, $3.59. One thing I'm probably going to avoid in the future is like this 77 Ford Thunderbird brochure catalog. Problem is this only sells for $3.64, but it's so flimsy that I've got to waste a record box on it or spend a bunch of time layering cardboard to make sure it makes it through the mail. And since it's advertising, it technically can't even go media mail. It won't be going media mail, don't worry there. I do not cheat that stuff. March 51 Air Force magazine. The air ground operation in Korea. Sold for $3.59. I am well into the profit on all my vintage air magazines. And it looks like finally, normally I don't talk about cards, but this is a set. I sold a box of assorted Magic the Gathering lands. They tend to be more interesting than average, and each one of them is in a really high quality slick plastic sleeve. I got that in a collection. I put it up there at $25. Got marked down a million times before it sold for $11.59. Okay, I bet this is what you've been waiting for here, the real topic. 8 reasons why selling smalls on eBay is bad and probably a mistake. Now, if you don't know what smalls are very low dollar items. I'm not going to set a definite value for what smalls are, you know, because that's really going to be different for everyone. If you're confined to a wheelchair and the best you can do is sell $1.99 trading cards plus shipping, you want to do plus shipping, that's the best you can do, then there's nothing wrong with doing the best you can do. That's all I could do at the beginning, and there was nothing wrong with that, but I can do more now, and most of you can definitely do more, so I really want you to. Now, your first reason is a pretty simple one. You're using up your paid store listings for items with very low returns. An item that sells for $2 and an item that sells for $300 cost you the exact same amount of money to list. Now, this isn't going to matter in the select categories for stores, such as collectibles, cards, books, music, movies, stamps, and crafts. And I believe the other one is party supplies. In those categories, it's not going to matter. You're going to have more listings than you can deal with the basic store, or if you get really huge, the next store level up, you're going to have a hard time filling that one out. But for everything else, it matters. I'm right now going to have to go back and pull some $2 and $3 items out of my store to make room for $30 and $40 items, because those $2 and $3 items are taking up those listings. I'm certainly not going to pay a monthly fee to be listing that $2 item. Your second reason, and this is a big one, you're only fooling yourself with your sales totals. Hey, you had a $3,000 week. That's awesome. But if all you sold that week was $4.99 free ship media, then after all expenses, you only cleared $210 for the week. And that's with zero cost of goods. And to do that, you had to list and ship 600 packages. Sounds like you worked a 40-hour week for $4 an hour to me. 50-hour week for $4 an hour, because that's what that ends up being. And the exact totals on that are gonna differ, of course. I based it on $5 DVDs, but there's plenty of other things, that are only going to clear you $1 or $2 after shipping and make it look like you made money, but almost all that money was actually shipping. All right, our third thing is that most cheap items take the same amount of time to list, pull, and ship than more expensive items do. You know, some of them are actually worse. Anything requiring a little bitty box like this thing here, this little guy, he is fragile. He's going to need a little bitty box to ship him into. Now, if this guy is actually worth like 20 bucks, so he's fine. But if he was only worth $2, I'm going to have to either make that box and waste my time, or I'm going to have to buy that box for about 60 cents. And that 60 cents is going to come out of the razor thin margins that I would have on this item if it was a $2 item. Your fourth reason here is that most smalls have terrible sell-through rates. That's why they're so cheap in the first place. If Quigley Down Under DVD was in high demand, then it would cost $10 plus shipping. It wouldn't cost $4.99 shipped. That's why the item is so cheap, because no one wants it. Think about that again. The item sells for that little money because no one wants it. There are way more of them than there are people who want it, and there'll probably continue to be more than people who want it forever. Number 5, you're filling up your warehouse space with very little in actual value. And this gets much worse if you're paying for storage space. Probably the worst thing you could possibly be doing is paying for storage space for smalls, especially DVDs, books, media. I would not want to be paying for a storage locker full of DVDs at all. I'd rather open the storage locker up and say, hey, come get it for free if you have to. I'd do anything to get out of paying for that bill. Hey, 6th reason. Remember those terrible sell-through rates from earlier? Because of that, if you're selling a lot of smalls, you're going to have yourself an ever-expanding store filled with items that nobody wants. And that's how a store rots. Hey, number 7. Remember that eBay algorithm that everybody's talking about? You know what that algorithm hates? It hates sellers whose items don't get clicked on, and that don't sell when they do get clicked on. And the stores full of small items tend to be full of those items. So they're going to drag your good ones down with them. And your final reason is that many smalls can be essentially unsellable because the market price on the item can be lower than you could even ship it out for. And eBay charity seller rates and pre-sort media mail rates make this very visible for media. While simple seller mistakes in other areas and poorly managed stores can cause it to happen for other items, a lot of sellers fire and forget their items. They don't change their prices when shipping prices go up, even if they've got free shipping on the item, or they don't use shipping policies. So they put in a shipping price for each item and then never change it as it sits for years and the shipping prices continue to raise. Oh, and I guess that brings us to our not really a ninth one because we talked about it earlier that the small takes as much time to ship as the large. But if you ever get a day where you ship nothing but smalls, like I did yesterday, and I spent a 6-hour day shipping what was only an average sale day for me, then you'll kind of start to see where it just isn't worth it. I know I'm going to be trying to avoid the lower dollar items in the future, and I suggest you might want to do the same. Hey, that's all I've got for today for the most part. Hey, it is, if you're watching this when it's new, it is summer. Have you told the ice cream man about my store? Because I haven't seen him in the comments. So why don't you let him know? Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you again soon.